Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we are going to be talking about Ripple XRP and the overall market update on the XRP price chart as well. XRP is showing some bearish signs, but I am still very bullish on the long-term vision here. So, with that being said, let's jump into the market. Let's actually address where we could see some juicy buys for XRP, and let's actually address what is happening in the market as well. So, if you guys did watch my HBAR video from earlier today, you'd understand that the overall market looks fairly volatile. We are seeing us basically march into the weekend, which would allow for even more volatile price action. I think that Bitcoin can go lower here. I think that we could breach down to even lower levels at around that 43K zone, and possibly even touch down to the possible 42 to 40K zone as well. So I'm going to also talk about that. We are down about 5%, almost breaching down to the $2 trillion market cap for all of crypto. We do see XRP sitting around that $4 zone. Totally fine. So with that being said, let's actually jump into one key factor here, which is the indices. So the indices have been showing signs of weakness throughout this entire week, right? They are very volatile right now. For an example, the Dow Jones closed even today, even lower than what I expected us to close, but it's lower than yesterday's, which is down almost 272 points. We see the NASDAQ down almost 133 points. And we also see the S&P 500 down about 35 points. Now, this closed out the week, right? These are not live over the weekend, which allows for crypto to kind of be played by whales a little bit more freely. Now, the thing with that being said, okay, I'm going to say it right now. Every single weekend from past patterns have been very volatile for crypto. Now, I know what a lot of people are saying. They're probably thinking, well, I think that Bitcoin could have a rally this weekend. But I don't think that that is the case, okay? I understand that we've seen it in the past, but I think that we will most likely come down and even dip down to 42K. And the reason why I say 42K is because I just think that it is more logical for us to come down even more, going back to even, September of 2017, September of even 2013, which I've addressed multiple times on this channel. So I don't really need to talk too much about that. Now, what I am going to say is I think that we are still playing into the 2184-day pattern that is going all the way back to the past market cycles every 4 years, and I think that this is more logical for us to actually go even higher at some point in time. So I think that this is very healthy in terms of the overall market structure, and I don't think that this is too bearish. I know a lot of people are still very panicky on Twitter, and they think that this is very bearish for us. Short term, yeah, it looks bearish. Even XRP, right? So let's actually talk about XRP. So XRP is still trading in this nice sideways momentum, and we just touched down on the 50-day close or 50-day MA nearly at about that 93 cent zone. But we didn't really touch it exact. We actually kind of bounced off of that $1 a little bit. But we do see that the 50-day is actually roughly around $1. So we nearly touched down on it. I think that if we do break down even more on Bitcoin, two solid buy zones would be either 91 cents or at the low end 86 to 85 cents, around that zone there. We just broke $1.05, which means we most likely retest $1 or lower than $1 into that demand zone down around 90 some cents. I think that we could see 95 cents be retested if Bitcoin does allow it. Now, again, if you guys are looking for solid buys, here's the time to actually look into that. Now, I do want to address the weekly chart for XRP as well. So let's actually turn everything off. Let's actually look at this. So overall, the market looks fairly good. Let me actually go to Bitstamp just to really kind of address this and actually look into things logically. So right now, we are in September. Bitcoin did pull back in September of 2017, 2018, even going back to the 2013, 2014 bull run as well. And if we're actually really looking at September as well, we do see the fact that from the high here, let me go to the price range. So from the high made in August, from the bottom dip here, it was roughly about a 50.61% of a decrease in price. Now, I did call for a recent price of basically dropping down about 40%, and we actually got that, right? Already from the high here, from the bottom here, it was roughly about 33.2%. I was calling for 40%. Now, what happens if we do drop down about 50%? Well, a 50% drop would be about 70 cents. I don't necessarily think that this is the case. We've already had our dropping point or our major crashing point in pretty much that May-June pattern, right? So I think that the pullback will be slightly less. And I say that with pretty much a lot of confidence. I think that realistically speaking, when we're talking about 90 cents, like a 90-cent pullback is totally fine, and an 85-cent pullback to major support levels would be about another 40%. That would be a solid 40% drop, which I'm still thinking is in the books. I think that we do reach down to 40% exact on XRP. Now, what will happen basically in terms of that and how do we get there? Well, it's very simple. Bitcoin just needs to retest about 42 to 40K in this zone here. I'm actually just going to mark this entire zone here. This is pretty much where we need to be in order for XRP to retest that. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why would you want to? Why would you want it to? It's very simple, right? I still think that Bitcoin is ranging in this 21 to 84 day pattern. And when we actually look back here, yeah, this was a 40% dip back in 2017, 2018, but even off of that low, right? So let's actually go off of the September low, which I believe is right here. So off of that September low to the high, it was roughly about a 2,100% of an increase in price. So what happens if we do pull back 40%, okay, and we go up about 2,100% from this low here, which this is again where I talk about the idea on don't worry about the short term, worry about the long term, because any pullback is pretty much welcomed. So if we actually have a 2,100% of an increase in price, it would be nearly $20 this bull run. Now, back in 2017, 2018, there wasn't that much money in this game. So I honestly think that realistically speaking, if we're talking about us breaking over these major highs and we break $10 and we break even $15, I think that the FOMO will be pretty good in order to jump us all the way to $20 to $25. And I think at the high end, if we're talking about $25, it's roughly about 2,800%, which would make sense. Going off of that low, because even realistically going back to 2013, 2014, which I do have marked on the chart here, and I know that this seems a little repetitive from the video yesterday, but the reason why I'm addressing this is because I still see a lot of people losing faith in XRP or thinking that some price targets are just not logical. But realistically speaking, they actually are. So I actually have it marked on the chart here. This is going back to even November, but I want to go off of those lows back in September. So let me actually get to those lows. So here's the lowest pinpoint here. So this was actually about an 871% of an increase in price back in the fall of 2013, 2014, and we do see that the pattern in terms of the percentage droppage is actually lower every single year, because I know that this was roughly about I think it was like maybe 50%, almost like 60%. This was actually 61.55%. So a little bit of a shorter drop would actually make sense for XRP this bull run, as the pullbacks actually lessen because of Bitcoin dominance dropping every single year. But overall, or every single bull run, I mean. But the overall aspect here is the fact that we increased our percentage gain by roughly almost 1,200%. So overall, increasing that percentage gain by 800% wouldn't be too crazy to me, and it's actually just about 700%. And if we do pretty much regain about 1,200%, we would be at 3,200, and that would bring us to nearly $28, almost $30 around that zone. So I think $25 end of the bull run is still very possible for XRP, and I think that the concerning factors here is really nothing to regard fully. Now, yeah, sure, there is some bullish, or I should say bearish indicators right now, which is the fact that the Bitcoin XRP chart is looking like it's retesting some major lows. But we did bounce off of some solid levels here. It's nothing too crazy. If I actually drew a horizontal line on here and actually looked at this, this isn't too crazy of a zone to actually be in. It's a resistance zone that we pretty much jumped off of overall. I still think that we retest lower. I still think that we could go a little bit lower on XRP and also Bitcoin short term, but long term, I'm still very bullish on the overall market. I still think that the market looks very good. I will say I'm also watching the dollar as it is gaining some traction here, but it is still topping out at some resistance, so it's very bullish for us. But I'm still watching the XRP Bitcoin chart similar to the HBAR Bitcoin chart. Now, in terms of XRP dominance, this is also something that I've been watching very closely, as we did recently break out on this chart. But now we are retesting down at the 100-day MA. So realistically speaking, what is happening right now is a lot more money is kind of flowing out of XRP than into XRP in regards to the overall dominancy factor. Dominancy is actually more so leaning towards Bitcoin, and actually kind of even getting out of Ethereum dominance too. If we actually look at Ethereum dominance, it's been dropping pretty hard since even going back to September 3rd. So a lot more money is kind of flowing through Bitcoin at the moment, but XRP is still fairly bullish in the long term. But like I said, short term, we could see a little bit more leeway, especially on Bitcoin. I think that this is the last buy opportunity, though, before the next parabolic shift, because I think after this, if we go back to Bitcoin, I think throughout this entire month here, right? I think this entire month is going to be pretty much the idea on get as much as you possibly can in terms of crypto before the next parabolic shift following that 4-year cycle. Because listen, topping out in May just does not make sense to me at all. That's never been a cycle pattern. So realistically speaking, I think that we are more than ready, but it's just going to take a little bit more time. And in terms of time from our current level to the end date, right, is roughly about 17 more days. So as long as you guys can hold for another 2 weeks, I think that you will be golden. I think that we are still marching into this major parabolic bull run for XRP and also Bitcoin and pretty much the entire altcoin market cap. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys don't want free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.